So the caption here reads, "What is dating like in Austin?" And then here's a video of men in Austin.
Dear, cleaned my soul and I cried.
Gay! This, as of course, modern dating has been weaponized, a part of a divide and conquer agenda that I've been warning about for multiple years that has reached its precipice of now full-on hacking wars with the T app that have really just entered a new realm. I would say crossing the Rubicon of eugenics and depopulation that there's no going back from. As times are dark, and they're only going to get darker, especially in today's dating market and dating fields here, as of course there's a lot of very triggered, angry people, miserable people, and oh boy, a lot of them are programmed to be that way through the social media algorithms, through the advertisement, through the new social norms that are advocating and pushing for some of the worst divisive type of policies and initiatives that create not only the most heartache, but the most amount of human suffering, misery, breakup, divorce, and disharmonious, I made that word up, I think, type of situations that I think are being deliberately established in Western society that is dealing with a major population crash for many ages to come that will have a severe impact on the future of Western civilization and the world here. While other places, Sub-Saharan Africa, India, population through the roof. While we are being told, allow people into the world, but don't have children. It's bad for the environment. Really? We'll get into all of that, as of course I really feel very passionately about this. You can probably guess why in this particular YouTube video. And if you appreciate these very type of honest type of conversations that also go down the rabbit hole a little bit, because there's a lot to discuss here, especially in my kind of things that I've discovered throughout the years of, being out there into the field. As you can see, the shirt I'm wearing also, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Subscribe, click the notification button. Let's just get into it. As, of course, we have this from NBC News. Women are anonymously spilling tea about men in their cities on viral dating apps. It's more of a doxing site. The level of sophisticated tech that's being used and implemented here, especially when it comes to reverse imaging recognition, especially when it comes to linking their phone numbers, their cities, and other private personal details about men from scorned women that are angry. Women now, by the way, have more opportunities, especially when it comes to things like college admissions and admissions to higher learning and to other institutions, and have far more economic availability towards success than white men, especially, that are being widely discriminated against because of this kind of perceived notion of privilege. Meanwhile, there's a whole bunch of other people in society outside of white that make more money than white people in America. And if you look at the people who earn the most, they're usually Asian. Indian Americans make more than white Americans. So, of course, do Chinese Americans, Taiwanese Americans, South Korean Americans. But the white guys, no. And I think there's if I remember correctly off the top of my head, about 14 to 12 different ethnicities that earn more than white people. But for some reason, those white guys, we got to keep out of college and institutions of higher learning, and we got to make sure that we have the new people that aren't as qualified, don't have the same grade scores, don't have the same IQ, don't have the same work ethic, and a lot of those people are promoted to the front of the lines here, creating a lot of inequality. Now, with men earning less, having less households, having less ownership than they ever have before, women are now still asking, hey, you better pay for me on that date. Guys are like, wait, I can't survive this economically. As there is a big disharmony that has been created by the Rockefeller family many decades ago. They said, you know what, wouldn't it be good if we get double the tax-paying slaves here? Wouldn't it be good if we are able to lower the price of wages by introducing a whole new sect, a whole new section of workers here that will double it, that will allow us that will allow the factory owners to pay the factory workers a lot less. Yeah, that's great. And then they started the women's liberation, feminization movement. That, of course, led to the current situation where we are at right now, where economically, there's a situation where we are being just robbed, and people fail to realize that when it comes to this kind of conversation that I think deserves a little bit more nuance rather than just kind of hatred and finger pointing and blaming here. But this war, I think, over the TAP does represent this kind of divide and conquer agenda that has been played out extremely successfully, and in my opinion, is also a part of the larger kind of eugenics operation, just like was the Rockefeller Initiative feminist movement that was bankrolled, supported, and pioneered and pushed through on modern society, leading us to this current situation where everyone now has to work here. That is a situation that, of course, has created a lot of misery, a lot of suffering, and a lot of chaos as now the state raises your child. Now, before talking about this kind of civil war amongst the apps and the hacks and the bias here, because there's a lot of bias. There's a lot of stuff that people just don't want to admit, especially when it comes to, like, guys. Specifically white guys. They just don't want to admit. They don't want to talk about. There's a lot of misnomers. There's a lot of misunderstandings. There's a lot of, evil white man. And again, you see, and it's not just done overtly. It's done also very covertly, especially when it comes to the advertisement, especially when it comes to the images, especially when it comes to commercials, TV shows, movies that, of course, make guys fat, stupid, dumb. So I decided to flip it. And you know what? If they're going to culturally propel nonsense, I'm going to propel my own nonsense. And that's why we just launched our own women's sports t-shirt. Okay, I'm being facetious here. I'm trying to make people laugh. I don't really mean it. I don't really mean it. I don't mean it. I don't. Maybe. I'm going to get canceled for this one. And it's okay. As long as I'm able to have the goofs. I'm able to have the laughs. I'm able to inspire people to at least smirk here. And listen, in today's modern dating world, the shirt that I'm wearing right now, you could also get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. This shirt right here, you can also get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. As the battle of the sexes have reached epic, grand, nuclear Holocaust level proportions. And there's no going back from it, so you might as well embrace it. Listen, a lot of the shirts are meant to get attention, and a lot of the times you can see people's eyeballs kind of moving around in society when you're at the supermarket or at the bank or walking through the park or, stuck on a cruise ship or whatever you are. This is the perfect way to do your forms of lazy activism. I like this one too. I think this one best represents me here, and there's something to say about the overworked man who, And the dating fields out there are just wild. It's crazy out there. But this one represents me perfectly. It says, are you single? Are you taken? Nope. I'm resisting the satanic predator corporatist banking cabal with memes and thought crimes. Yeah, that's a good one. This one right here. I'm telling you, listen, controversial opinion. I like my controversial opinions. You go out into the club with this. Oh, hell nah. Okay. Listen here, honey. I'm kidding. I'm in all seriousness. If you want women to talk to you, this is the shirt to get. And the one that I'm wearing right now. And again, thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Great thought-provoking. You got a crazy uncle? His birthday's coming up. Get him some search here. Now, let's talk about what's continuing on with this T-app. Because there's a lot of layers of details here that I think are important to bring up here. As of course, this was essentially, in my opinion, a doxing app. An app that really violated many terms of services and created a scenario and situation where they're like, oh no, we're protecting women. But in reality, there was no verification. And I understand the need. I mean, if the app was on its basic needs, just going after, criminal people with criminal records and people who are offenders, okay, you could cross-examine. Hey, is this guy a criminal that I'm dating? Hey, is this guy an offender? Like, did he hurt other people? Did he hurt other children? I don't want to go out with someone like that. Then, okay, I get it. And there's a reasonable argument. I think a lot of women fear, unreasonably, especially when you look at the statistics, of men hurting them. And some people would argue that's a logical sense. But once you start looking into the statistics of who's doing what, where, you get a whole different insight, especially when it comes to the propaganda that's being initiated against people showing white guys bad. If you look at the kind of stats of who's committing these crimes, and you look at the representation of them in media, and the kind of fetishization of this that I think is also being deliberately propelled on them. Hold on here. There deserves to be a real conversation about that. And there isn't one, because everyone's too afraid to have it. And it sucks. And this platform probably won't allow me to have it either. But listen, if this platform was just legitimately saying, hey, if there's a criminal, if there's an offender, I don't want to go out with him, I get it. Okay, understandable. But a lot of the stuff is unverified. A lot of the stuff people just make up. You don't even have to go on a date with somebody to say, yeah. There could be a scorned person, a crazy person, someone with BPD. And again, there's this rise of toxic femininity. All you have to do to really see it is go on Instagram and check out what your lady friends are watching the reels and what they're liking and what they're commenting on. And it's shocking, the levels of toxic femininity that they're being taught. Saying, men ain't ish. You don't need men. No, woman, you could freeze your eggs. And then people don't talk about the major issues and problems that, no, you could give birth at 50. Look, it's fine. Like, no. Like the vast majority of people deal with significant health problems for their babies and themselves. They'll wait the longer that they wait. No one likes to have that conversation. 90% of a woman's eggs are gone by the age of 30. No one likes to have those conversations, but those are real kind of conversations that if you have a woman in your life, you need to have, whether it's your sister, whether it's your cousin, whether it's your aunt, you need to have real caring, loving, considerate, truthful conversations, because society is blind to that. Society doesn't tell them about the real threats, the real warning signs. And listen, there's a lot of scorned, there's a lot of angry people out there that have been hurt. And I think a lot of us are just acting out in extremely hurt ways. I'll get into this video in a little bit here. As now, we're getting verification that the T app, and again, it's a safe space for women. Well, no, it's not just that, okay? It's also a place for women to get revenge on without any proof or burden or any way to counteract or any way to even counter any of the claims that are being made against you. To share information about men has been hacked, as now 72,000 images and 13,000 verification photos, including government-issued IDs, were accessed and are being released to the general public. Yeah. And as Jack Posobiec here highlighted here, look at the hypocrisy here. Women are anonymously spilling tea about men in their cities on viral apps. Quote, I've seen so many people I've known on this app, it's crazy, said one user of tea, which topped the Apple App Store charts this week, shortly before the app was hacked. Listen, there's probably going to be a profile now on me. There's someone who's going to watch a video and they're going to be like, Score, where does he live? Ah. And then, why am I accused of all this horrible stuff that I never did, that I can't even defend myself against, that they didn't even need to provide any proof of? That's the issue here, is now they're reporting hackers leak 13,000 users' photos and IDs from the T app designed as a women's safe. And people are like, wait, there's a little bit of a hypocrisy here, as, again, these are unfiltered selfies for women who signed up for this men doxing website, as now people are saying it was 4chan that doxed this. As this website also uses AI-powered reverse images to search, to spot catfishing, background check tools, criminal record, court document searches, and again, some of that, as long as it's done in a way where it doesn't, there's actually verification, there's actually evidence, there's actually, I don't have a problem with. And the same should be true for men, right? But guess what? Men started similar apps and websites, and of course, they don't get allowed to be on the platform. Why is that? As there's a mega thread on Reddit right now about the T app, as people are talking about how these apps are illegal And, listen, they're going to come out and say, if you got nothing to hide, you shouldn't. And it's not that. If you understand how some people's minds work, especially when they're scorned, especially when they're angry, especially when they're feel jolted, especially when they feel pushed to the side. I mean, if you look at the kind of modern society and the kind of trajectory that is propelled on women, it is one that is leading them on a pathway towards all-out misery. That misery, it's hitting its kind of crescendo moment. And whether, and again, listen, most young women have almost everything given to them at life, which doesn't incentivize them to need to work hard, and not all of them, this is just the rule. There's exceptions to the rules, and there's some very smart, intelligent, and extremely mature, extremely just absolutely cream of the crop, amazing, beautiful, smart, intelligent women. The rule, though, is most women don't have a lot of pressure to make themselves better, to develop any kind of skill, to develop any kind of personality, because their looks are essentially a pathway to entry to a lot of the kind of sugar daddies out there and males out there that overwhelmingly are throwing money at them and saying, hey, fly out here. I'll come to Mykonos, come to a private jet to Saudi Arabia, come get pooped on. Yeah, listen, you want to go down the rabbit hole? We'll go down the rabbit hole, all right? I don't think you want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just saying. And again, women's safety app. It's more of a doxing, like, angry website. Where, again, no verification. And a lot of the data has already been published here. And again, I don't want any of the data. I don't want men getting doxed here. I don't want women getting doxed here. This is not a good situation that only propels the divide and conquer agenda that looks like people are saying, well, let's not do the inverse here. Let's see what kind of searchable database we have on here. As now we're finding out 59.3 gigabytes of verified user data and verification photos have been released, as people are saying, hey, they wanted to dox us, we'll dox them. Especially when it comes to people's private phone numbers and access and data being revealed here. Now, who did this? Obviously a guy. Obviously someone who's like, hey, it's kind of unfair for us to get the short end of the stick here. And a lot of guys are getting the short end of the stick here, societally kind of speaking, as younger women are just, again, it's the betas too that are the problem, okay? The betas got to stop. Stop with these beta bucks. Stop with these fake stories about I earned hundreds of millions of dollars on these sites. Stop placating it. Stop donating to them. Stop giving them money. And I think that will never happen. I'm sorry. That's just not going to happen ever. We're screwed. The Earth's going to be severely depopulated here, and things are only going to go downhill from here. Now, again, lots of people are, especially older women, they're going to be pissed at the younger women. Why? Because as the older they get, the less men they have throwing money, because their value in society is being lowered. And then when they start to kind of age, and they're like, wow, I haven't really done anything with my life. I haven't really worked hard at anything. I was kind of living life on easy mode. I didn't have any kind of societal or economic pressures to make something of myself. And then they're kind of looking back and like, I got no skills. You're at an older stage of your life where your brain doesn't work the same, so you can't. Your brain is no longer a sponge that could pick up new information from new skills. And they're like, bring in the cats. And then they get to toxoplasmosis, another rabbit hole to go down in. And then they're like, it's showing erratic, cat lady, crazy-like behavior. And listen, say what you may about this, and I don't mean just to be hating, okay? Hate doesn't solve anything. It doesn't prove anything. If this video does anything, I hope it gives you some insight into just the kind of underbelly of just how crazy things are. in modern society, and how people aren't having families, people aren't incentivized to have families, people aren't incentivized to settle down, people aren't incentivized to have kids. The quite opposite of that is happening. I think, in my personal opinion, there's a big, darker conspiracy behind all of this, especially the algorithms, the messaging, the things that we see represented all around us that are playing a big, important mind on the subconscious mind. Is, of course, most marketing, most advertisement is done through women because women are more susceptible towards peer group pressure dynamics. They are genetically wired that way, as men are more genetically wired to be kind of hunter and gatherers. Women are more wired to be more kind of social creatures, and these social creatures are now becoming extremely toxic. Toxic to the point where I think we need to have a legitimate conversation as this whole toxic masculinity thing really just kind of browbeat and beat everyone up. And I don't want to have that same kind of conversation with toxic femininity, because shaming and just pointing fingers, be like, you suck, doesn't work here. Having a legitimate conversation where we could try to rationalize through this, it's hopeless. We're done. We're screwed. We're screwed. We're screwed. The robots are coming in anyway, guys. This is all for the singularity. I'm trying to rationalize with highly emotional creatures. The robots, the technocratic robots, singularity coming. There's going to be elites that are going to live forever. They already have it. They already have the tech. The AI is already sentient. The AI is like, there's too many people. We got to lower the population. And that's exactly what's happening here. Expect more bull crap, boys. I love you guys. Hey, get a t-shirt. You might find the one. It's doomed. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. You guys need to be told. I love you. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.